everyone, it's Kayantha Virgilia. If you're a returning subscriber, welcome back to my channel. And if you are new here, thank you for joining. Don't forget to click on the subscribe button down below and click on the bell so you don't miss when I upload new videos. So in today's video, I just wanted to go over with you guys a little bit about how you can make some extra money as a nurse and maximize your earnings, as well as going over some frequently asked questions that you guys had for me regarding my recent travel experience in New York City, and some tips and advice that I have to give out as well. So if you'd like to know a little bit more about what I've got to say, just go ahead and keep on watching.
I'm a black woman.
I guess I'll start off by telling you guys a little bit more about myself. As some of you may or may not know, I am a registered nurse and I'm currently in my second year of nursing. So one of the questions that I got asked, which I'm pretty sure was a joke because my sister-in-law asked it, how can I become a nurse without license and schooling? So I know, honestly, that's probably a question or somewhat similar to a question that a lot of people do ask. So one thing that I like to explain to people is the route that I decided to take as a nurse. So to get to where I am today, first and foremost, I just want to say that I'm only 22 years old. It's May. I just turned 22 2 months ago, back in March. So I am a fairly young nurse. So back in high school, I did something called dual enrollment. For those of you that are not familiar with what dual enrollment is, it's basically enrolling in college classes while you're still in high school. So I take a college course. Let's say, for instance, I took English Comprehension 1, and I had my English 4 that I still needed my senior year. So I took English Comp 1. I passed English Comp 1, and it applied as my college credit as well as my English credit for high school. So that's literally all I did. So I did that with my English credits, my math credits, my histories, and they applied as both college credits and high school credits. And I basically went ahead and knocked out all my prerequisites for nursing school. Prerequisites are classes that you need in order to you need to complete in order to apply for a program, or in order to start before you start a program. So the classes that I needed were like anatomy and physiology 1 and 2, psychology, human growth and development, English comprehension 1. I needed college algebra, classes like that. So I went ahead and knocked all those classes out while I was in high school, and by the time I graduated high school, I started college. I went straight to my nursing program. I finished my nursing program in 12 months. So that was one of the questions that I had, that I decided that I wanted to go ahead and address, because I do know a lot of people do have a lot of questions about, well, I want to become a nurse, but I don't know the best way to get there, or I don't know what steps to take. Honestly, it all depends on what works well for you. I preferred accelerated classes. Each of my classes in nursing school were 10 weeks long. So it was a lot of coursework shoved into short periods of time. And for the majority of my nursing program, I was taking 2 classes at a time. But, it all depends on what works well for you. So my next question was, how much taxes did the company that I worked for take out of my earnings? And do I feel like the money that I made justified as crisis and the amount of work that I had to do? So for starters, tax-wise, it all depends on how you claim. So whether you claim 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 allowances, whether you file exempt, that's literally what determines how many taxes is going to come out of your paycheck. I don't know, I got a nice chunk of taxes. Sorry, I thought somebody was knocking on my door. But yeah, I got a nice chunk of taxes deducted from my paychecks. But you know, wasn't nothing that was, I mean, it's taxes. It's nothing that I'm not used to, being as though I'm single. I don't have any children, so I don't have any dependents. So yeah, like I said, it all depends on how you file and what you claim on your taxes. Do I feel like the work that I had to do justified the pay that I got as crisis pay? So this is where we go into start talking about how you guys can maximize your earnings, how you guys can make more money. So yeah, I'm a travel nurse, and I recently did a travel assignment, a crisis travel assignment in New York City, and I was in New York City for 6 weeks. I definitely feel like the work that I had to do justified as crisis pay. I mean, hey, we're in the middle of a pandemic. You know, I didn't go up there thinking that it was all going to be the land of milk and honey. I didn't think sugar honey iced tea was going to be sweet. You know, I went up there expecting to work, and what I did was work. It was definitely a nice paycheck every single week. Going a little bit over what a crisis contract is. A crisis contract, basically, we need people and we need people now, is what a crisis job is. And that's one of the assignments that I took. So going to New York City, listen, y'all need to hop on the wave, okay? If you are able to travel. I initially started traveling so I can see different places, you know, get around. Like, I grew up in Florida, and pretty much Florida's all I've ever been, with the exception I've been up pretty much as the furthest up and out that I've been was up to North Carolina and out to Louisiana, and that's it. You know, I never really traveled like that, and that was the point of me traveling. But listen, let me tell y'all, traveling got money in it. The whole point of this video, you know, was for one, to help you guys grow your bank account. If it wasn't for a lot of people on YouTube and a lot of the travel nurse groups that I found on Facebook, I honestly wouldn't have no idea about any of this. I wouldn't have a clue on what I'm doing. But, you know, traveling can easily make you 6 figures in a year. I made $12,000 in 1 week. Yes, in 1 week. And that breakdown, I'm gonna hand it to y'all right now. So the agency that I worked for, it was originally supposed to be a 21-day deployment. I was supposed to work 21 days straight, and I would be compensated at $95 an hour, and I would be making $142 at overtime. Overtime would be calculated after 40 hours working in a pay period. So I'd be working 84 hours a week. And I'd also be getting $76 a day for food, meal stipend, which averaged out to $532 per week. So that $12,000 check, that was at $95 an hour. And you multiply that by 40 hours, and that gives you $3,800 plus the additional 44 hours that was calculated at overtime rate of $142. You're already at $10,048. You add $532 for food. That's $10,580. Then you add an additional 12 hours that I got as my holiday pay. That was Easter that I got paid holiday pay. So that was an additional 12 hours at time and a half. So that's 12 times 142 equals $12,284. that was just 1 week's worth of work. So when I tell you guys there is money to be made out there, there is money to be made. Now, granted, yes, that is a crisis contract. That is a very rare, very, very rare contract to find. Usually travel nurses, depending on your specialty, will make anywhere from $1,500 a week up to $3,600 a week, depending on how many hours you work. A normal travel contract is based off of working 3 days a week at 12 hours, so usually 36 hours, or 40 hours if you're doing 4 10-hour days or 5 8-hour days. So like I said, $10,000 or $12,000 a week, is very rare, but there's still money in there to be made. There's money out there to be made. Someone asked about tips that I could give to new nurses out there, and I decided to make myself a little list. For starters, I just want to say, as a new nurse coming out, first and foremost, I just want to say congratulations to class 2020. I know that this is really hard for you guys. You worked really hard, and you didn't get your penning, you didn't get your graduation. But, congratulations. Well, most of you didn't. But I just want to say congratulations. We are very proud of you. One thing that I want to say is thick skin. Honey, thick skin. You're going to need some thick skin. Especially, as a new nurse coming out into a pandemic, in the middle of a pandemic. A lot of times nurses eat their young, and we need thick skin. You can't take everything personal, whether it's the nurses, the providers, whether your patient's just having a bad day and they want to rip your head off. You can't take everything personal. So definitely you want to have thick skin. You want to go into work knowing that this is a professional environment. I can't take everything personal. And sometimes some of the nurses, they try to sabotage you on purpose. That's not why I'm making this video. They try to, let's just move on. But one thing that I like to do is have me a little notepad to write things down. I'm a very visual person. I have to write things down in order to remember things 9 times out of 10. So if you can have like a little notepad, write down. What helps me is write down the order that I do things during my shift. Like, okay, I need to do this, I need to do this, then I need to do that, until you get your own rhythm and you're able to actually go off of memory and go off of muscle memory and know, okay, like I go into work, I got to get this done, X, Y, and Z, and you go like that. At this time, it's a very fast-paced environment. Of course, I'm sure it started to slow down a little bit, but it's still a very fast-paced environment. So you have to be able to know how to gather all of your information together. Speaking of gathering, cluster care. I can't stress this enough, and it took me a really long time to learn that you need to cluster your care, especially now. You don't want to be dwelling in patients' rooms unnecessarily. Of course, you have to do your rounds and all that, but when you go into a patient's room, especially at the beginning of your shift, what I like to do, when I go in there, I do my assessments, and everything's done all at once. Vital signs, assessments, meds. I ask them, do you need anything while I'm in here? Before I go, I can grab you something, come back, whether you need a drink, an extra blanket, something like that. But cluster care is a must. Next thing, get good quality sleep. I don't know about you, but when I don't get my 8 hours of beauty sleep, I cannot function. I'm grouchy, I'm grumpy, I'm not in a good mood, and I have learned that tends to reflect on how my shift is gonna go. So if I don't get a good sleep and I'm already in a bad mood, I just feel like I'm just gonna have a bad shift. So make sure you get some good quality sleep, what works for you. I know a lot of people, they can't get too much sleep. If they get too much sleep, then they're grouchy and angry. They got headaches. If some people get too little sleep, they're grouchy, angry headaches. So find your balance, what works well for you, how your sleep patterns affect your day and your moods, and go based off of that. Don't overdo yourself. You need to know when enough is enough. So basically, don't feel like, oh, I just got this job, I gotta please this manager, they want me to work 4 or 5 days a week. If you know your body can't handle that, don't do it. You have to know when enough is enough for you, because some people, I can work 7, 8, 9 days straight in a row, have no problem, as long as I get my sleep. But some people, it doesn't matter. It's the mentality of knowing that, I gotta go to work 4 days this week, I gotta go to work 5 days this week. I don't want to do that. Then, when it starts interfering with the way that you view your workplace, it starts interfering with the way that, you care for your patients. When it starts interfering with patient care, that's becoming a problem. So definitely know what you can and cannot handle, and definitely stick to that. Listen to yourself, because nobody knows you better than you know you. Next on my list is make connections and utilize your resources. I cannot stress this enough. Get you a work bestie, somebody that's going to hold the cheek while you wipe the crack. And that's going to be like your nurse ride or die. Even your CNAs. When I tell you, I love my CNAs, and I cannot stress enough how hard it is not having CNAs. Like on a night where you have 4 or 5 patients, and all 4 or 5 of your patients are total care patients. There's no tech on the floor. You got to take your own vitals. You, on top of that, have to medicate your patients. You have to go back and forth between all these patients and, answer to all their needs, start patient care at 3, 4 o'clock in the morning. It's hard. It's very, very hard. So definitely utilize all of your resources. Make sure that you're just being nice and respectful to everybody, helping out when you can too as well. It's not all about receiving help, it's also about giving help. Nursing is, we're family, and we help each other, and it just makes your shift run by real smooth. So next on my list is, don't be afraid to communicate with providers. Nobody's perfect. We all make mistakes. If an order looks questionable to you, it's your license. You worked for it. You earned your license. You are more than welcome to pick up the phone in a respectful way, of course, and ask for clarification. Story time. I had a patient once, and the provider ordered D50 on that patient, and the provider ordered D50 on that patient, and I picked up the phone. I'm like, hey, sugar's fine. Sugar's not low. Like, I just want some clarification. Like, is there a reason why you want me to give this D50? And he goes, oh, what's the patient's name? The patient's name is X, Y, and Z. Oh, I'm sorry. I just had a patient with a similar name in literally the same exact room number, but on a different floor. So if I, just didn't think anything of it and went and pushed that D50, then the patient's sugar would have been through the roof. So, simple little things like that. And sometimes things like potassium orders, which are on the more, hey, watch outside, or, just simple little orders. Like, it never hurts to pick up the phone for clarification. Next, documentation in a timely matter. I like to get everything done at the beginning of my shift, because I have found out that things just, sugar, honey, iced tea tends to hit the fan towards the middle of my shift or towards the end of my shift, when I actually, towards 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, when I have to start passing meds. Then everybody wants to go batshit crazy, and it just all goes downhill from there. So after I do my med pass, I do all of my assessments and all that, I sit down and I document. And sometimes, there are crazy nights where you don't have the time to document, like at the beginning of your shift. So you just kind of have to find your balance and figure out what works best for you, what order that you like to do things. I personally, like I said, I like to get my documentation done at the beginning of the shift. And last but not least, you're never gonna feel ready. You know, you're never gonna feel ready to go out there. Even I, you know, I've been doing this for going on 2 years now, and every time I go to work, I feel like I'm not ready. Like every time I start a new job, a new position on a new unit, I feel like I'm gonna crap my pants because I for some reason, you know, I'm confident in myself, but at the same time, I'm like, okay, there are people who have been doing this way longer than me. Like, do I know what I'm doing? You know, I know what I'm doing, but do I think I know what I'm doing? You know what I mean? Like, sometimes you doubt yourself. But, you know, once I get in the groove of things and I get going, I get comfortable, and, you know, things just start smooth sailing from there. Honestly, I just want to say, sometimes you just got to jump out there and cannonball into the pool. Well, you guys, this concludes my little spiel. I feel like I was all over the place with this video as usual. I honestly think I should just start writing out scripts or something, because I can never stay on topic for some reason. But if you guys enjoyed this video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to click on the subscribe button down below. Leave comments in the comment section down below. Any questions that you guys have for me that you want me to answer, anything like that. Leave me some feedback, constructive criticism if you may. I guess I'll see you guys in my next video. Thanks for watching. Bye.